some submissions now, so I'm just going to remind everyone over some of the concepts we went over last week, so kind of like the 4 principles of Jiu-Jitsu are get on top, stay on top. If you're on your back, do not hit them past your guard. And rule number 4 is don't forget rule number 1. So our goal in Jiu-Jitsu is always to see if we can get on top. If we have someone ended up on our back, there's 4 objectives I want you to think about. Okay, so from my back, my first objective is to survive. That can mean, depending on the scenario, it can mean anywhere, anything from stopping Anton from hitting me, closing the distance down so he can't hit me properly, or stopping him from maybe doing something like standing up and then passing my guard. Okay, stopping him from doing that. Okay, so we're going to assume that we've achieved those first 2 objectives. So the first objective actually is the second objective is actually to stand up. So stop him from passing my guard, stop him from hitting me. Then the second objective was to stand up, get back to your feet so you can run away. You remember the scenario we were talking about last week? So I broke into someone's house and the security guard tackled me down and he was trying to do something. So and my job was to get back to my feet and kind of get away so you might get back. Okay, so I'm going to assume that I've survived, but I've not been able to stand up, so I need to think about something else. Okay, so I'm going to start thinking about maybe submitting him. Okay, so we're going to start at the end, kind of close to the end of the move. Okay, so what I want you to do, if you just posture up a little bit, Anton, I'm going to throw one of my legs over the top of Anton's shoulders. So one of my legs is underneath his armpit, the other leg's over the top of his shoulder. Okay. So he should have one hand on the floor and one hand kind of like closer to my body here. Okay? So my job is to try and keep one of Anton's hands in between my legs. Okay, so he's got one hand in between my legs. Okay, so at the moment he's got one hand in between my legs. Okay, my job is to try and keep his hand in between my legs. Anton's job, Anton's got 3 ways of winning. His first way of winning is removing his hands. Okay, so now I've not got control over anything. His second way of winning is bringing his other hand in between my legs. Okay, and his third way of winning is if he manages to force me to uncross my feet. So if he maybe just uncross your feet. He manages to force me to uncross my feet. Okay, so one hand in the middle, one hand on the outside. My job is to keep this hand in the middle. His job is to bring both his hands out, both his hands in, or find a way of breaking the hold over the top of his shoulder. Does anyone have any questions about that game? Okay, so when you win, you're going to swap over, alright? We're going to play this game for about 4 or 5 minutes. So if you're stuck in between your partner's legs for like a minute, 2 minutes, just tap and swap over, yeah? Does that make sense to everyone? Grab a partner and give this a go, please, guys. Thank you. Stay with your feet crossed. That's your job, to stay where you are, alright? Francisco's job is to uncross my feet. Okay. Bring one of his hands out. Yep, there you go. Or bring both his hands in. Like this. Okay, those are his winning conditions. I had a couple of questions about whether your partner, so in my case Francisco, is allowed to stand up. Yes, of course he is. Okay. And then I had another kind of sensible question: is Francisco allowed to pick me up and slam me on the floor? So if you pick me up, Francisco, yeah. Definitely not. Okay, definitely not. It's not that that is not an effective technique, but it's very dangerous. You can knock your partner out, and kind of, as I said last week, the most valuable resource we have on the mat is our training partners. You can't do jiu-jitsu without training partners. Please try not to powerbomb each other. Okay. So just a couple of things. I'm going to play that game again. And there's just a couple of things I want you to start thinking about. So if you get on your back, Francisco. So we're kind of like, can you see kind of, we call this position diamond, yeah? Because his feet are kind of forming like a sort of a diamond shape, okay? So he hasn't got a lot of control on me. So what I want you to start thinking about is controlling your partner's posture. So at the moment, my head is quite high. I think Francisco would probably be better for him if he started bringing the head a little bit low. And that makes life a lot more difficult for me. The other thing you might want to start thinking about is finding a way of making this, if you come out. So can you see, I don't know what other word to describe it, making this hole smaller. Okay, I don't know what other word to use for that, yeah? Okay, don't don't show them. They need to figure it out themselves, okay? So maybe finding a way of bringing my posture down, okay? And trying to make that cross between his legs a little bit better, okay? So I'm going to play the game again and see if you can figure out kind of like how to do that. Put your hands up if you're under 16. Okay, so, Francisco again. Okay, so if you're going with someone under 16, there is one grip that you're not allowed to do, which is if you grab both your hands behind my head. You're not allowed to use this grip. It's basically like a can opener grip. Okay, you're not allowed to do that to pull someone's head down. It's kind of against the federation rules, and I don't want you to be developing jiu-jitsu that you can't use later on in competition. Also, your necks are still developing, and this can kind of be hard work on your neck. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. Change partners. Grab someone new, please. Thank you. Paul or Francisco, please. Okay, thank you. Okay, we swap positions. So question, how was anyone able to kind of like control their opponent really easily when they were on their back? Did everyone kind of find it quite difficult? I'm not telepathic, so you need to say yes, no. Yeah, okay, cool. So that's kind of one of the important takeaways I wanted you to have from doing that drill. A lot of people kind of romanticize jiu-jitsu for, you know, these wicked cool submissions off your back. It's really hard. It's really hard to submit someone off your back. So that's why I always say, like, the priorities should be, especially in a self-defense scenario, would be firstly to survive, and then secondly, see if you can get back to your feet and get to safety. Okay. So yes, so we're going to kind of like change the game now a little bit. Okay, so I'm not going to actually show you how to finish the triangle today because I've kind of mistimed the class a little bit, and we're not going to have time to do that. But I'll show you kind of how to get there, and then hopefully next week we'll have a little bit of time to look at the triangle finish itself. Okay, so borrowing you again, Francisco. So one of the big things in my jiu-jitsu, one of the big concepts that I'm using in my jiu-jitsu at the moment is this concept of open elbow, or open armpit. Okay, so if you can open up your armpits. Anytime I can get my hips, my arms into this space here, this is what I want. I want to get control of the space underneath his armpits, if I can. If you go onto your back, Francisco. Okay, so for example, if I was going to pin Francisco down, one of the things I really like doing is getting really high underneath the armpits here, like this, really high above his head. And the same thing if I was going to be a mount. I want to get my knees as far underneath his armpits as I can. Okay, it's the same thing if I'm on my back. So if we swap positions here. Okay, so I'm just going to give you this concept, and then I'm going to give you a game to play. Okay, so I want to get my hips as far underneath Francisco's armpits as I can, because that gives me more control over his posture. So the game that we're going to play is we're going to take a grip called an overhook. Okay, so this grip is me wrapping over the top of Francisco's arm. Okay, like this. Okay, can everyone see this grip? Come around here, see, get like this. Okay, so his hand is underneath my armpit. My hand is coming over the top of his shoulder, and you can wrap this grip however you want. You can even kind of play it from here if you want to, yeah? I'm going to be grabbing hold of Francisco's wrist, okay? All right, so we're going to play this game. We'll do this a minute and a half on top, minute and a half on bottom, okay? So person on top stays on top, person on bottom stays on bottom. My job is to keep control over Francisco's grip, okay? And if he breaks my grip, Francisco, okay, my job is to try and re-establish control over this wrist here. Okay, so that's his first objective. His second objective is to see if he can free this hand. Oh, actually, we'll start from there. We're going to take a step back. Okay, so I've got a grip over the top of Francisco's shoulder. I may have a grip on his wrist. I may not. His job is to try and free his arm. So try and free your arm. Okay. Once he does that, we reset, and I grab hold here again. So I wanted to see if you can kind of develop the skill of holding onto this arm here. Does that make sense? Okay, so it's a continuous game. So if he frees his arm, and I can't re-establish, so if you free your arm, and I can't re-establish, okay, he wins. So if he frees his arm, free your arm, boom, and he's able to get back here. Okay, we just reset from this position here. Okay, my recommendation, and you can choose to take this if you want to or not, is that you just play this game on one side. So you're going to play it on your left hand side or your right hand side. Okay. You can choose to do both, that's up to you, but my recommendation is just choose one side. Is everyone clear? Okay, my job again is to stay where I am. Okay, his job is to try and escape his arm. Make sense? Okay, change partners again, please. Thank you very much. That is, I'm going to give you like a specific grip I want you to use. I need everyone over here, please. Everyone over here so you can see the grip that I'm using. Okay, my palm is facing up towards the ceiling and I'm going to be grabbing hold of his wrist. Okay, so this is the grip that we're going to be working with. I'm going to be kind of quite prescriptive about this. Okay, so I need to hold on to this arm and I need to hold on to this wrist with my hand. Okay, so we're going to play a game. So, try and free your hand, free your wrist. So my job is to try and keep control of that wrist there. And if he manages to free it, boom, we stop, we reset from this position here. Okay, if he manages to free his arm, boom, we stop, we reset. Okay, so everyone palm facing up towards the ceiling. Your knuckles should be facing the floor, and you'd be grabbing upwards like this. Okay, does that make sense? And I just want you to follow his hand around. Okay, I'm not going to give you too much more detail because hopefully you'll be able to discover it yourself. Okay, does anyone have any questions about that game?
So what's the winning condition for the man? First of the box, hold on.
Just hold on. Right. Okay. Personally, it's just to try and stay where you are, to try and keep your grips.
And
okay.
You should be using your right hand.
It depends. It's up to you. So you can use. So it depends on which side you're doing it on. So for example, so it's not right and left. It's about which side you put the overhook on. So right now I'm overhooking him with my right hand, so I'll be grabbing him with my left hand. Yeah. Just on the other side, it'll be like this. Okay. And it's entirely up to you. Some people are going to be right-handed, some people are going to be left-handed. So whichever side feels better to you, that's the side you can practice on. Okay? Makes sense? Change partners, grab someone new. Okay, so what we're going to look at now is moving from this overhook wrist control position to a triangle position. Okay? Okay guys, so you need to be a little bit responsible for your own learning. So if you're sitting at an angle where you can't see, it's your job to move yourself to where you can see. I'm not going to move myself around. Okay? Strict head teacher vibes. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to be able to put Jens' hand in between my legs and go from one of my legs over the top of each shoulder and get to this position here, which should be familiar because we was in it in a previous game. Okay, so if I just try and force his hand there, he's going to be kind of quite stiff and strong. It's going to be kind of quite difficult for me. Okay, so we're going to play the game that we were just playing. So Jens is going to try and free his wrist, and as he's looking to free his wrist, I'm going to take an opportunity to see if I can throw my leg over the top of his shoulder. Okay. Okay, so sometimes what Jens might do is he might bring his hand out like this, and if he does that, I should have the ability to throw my leg over the top. Sometimes he might try and bring his hand in, in which case I just punch it in between my legs, throw my legs over the top here. Right? So I'm not the most flexible person in the world, okay? To increase my flexibility, I try and stay on my side, here like this, okay? Try and stay on my side, and this gives me a lot more flexibility to move my legs rather than me being flat on my back. So one of the key things is I want you to think about staying on your side as you play this game, okay? So we're going to do like a live round, so you slap hands, front fist, that means nothing personal, just business. We go Jens, there. Oh, his hand's still on the inside. Okay? So you might lose like that, okay? So this is about, like I said in the first session, because I'm not trying to teach you techniques, I'm trying to help you acquire skills. And the skill I'm trying to help you acquire here is making and maintaining control of your partner's upper body while you're on your back. Okay? Just understanding when they're giving you opportunities to throw your leg over the top of the shoulder so you can get into that diamond position. Does that make sense? So we're going to do, let's do another time round. So we'll do a minute and a half on top, minute and a half on bottom. Okay? Change partners again, please. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Francisco, if I can borrow you. Okay, so we'll play that game again. I'm just going to give you a couple of ideas that you can choose to use and not to use. Okay, so when you're fighting on your back, you need to be able to use all four of your limbs. Okay, so for example, if Francisco brings his hand all the way back, bring your hand all the way back, this one. Okay, what I might be looking to do is put my foot on his bicep. Yeah, so now when he tries to bring his hand back inside, it's kind of like quite difficult to control. Okay, I might be even looking to look hook onto his armpit over there, and kind of then start looking to throw my leg over the top. If he decides to bring his hands on the inside, I can use my hand here to grab hold of it. Okay, like this. And then start coming over the top there. Okay, so just a couple of ideas that you can kind of start playing around with. If you can use your legs to somehow like fish hook over the top here, or create a frame here, that's really good. I really want you to kind of also focus on trying to stay on your side. So Francisco's able to kind of force me onto my back. This is really bad. That's kind of really difficult to do jiu-jitsu. Okay, so you always want to be kind of like thinking about kind of like framing here. Okay. I'll give you another thing that I like to do, so you can play around with this if you want to. I don't actually tend to play here a lot. I actually tend to play here like this. I tend to hold onto my own shin, okay? Because now try and pull your arm out, Francisco. It's a lot more difficult. Try and pull your arm out. It's a lot easier. Okay, so I'm just holding on to my own leg here. And it also acts as a bit more of a frame. So Francisco tries to frame back into me. It's a little bit more difficult. Buys me a little bit more time. Okay, so just play around with those 2-3 ideas. We'll play this game again, and then we're going to move on to something different, okay? Off you go, please. Change partners. Guard position here. Anton's going to have a wrap over my arm. He's going to have control of my wrist. Okay. Anton now has 2 winning conditions. His first winning condition is to get to the diamond position. That's his first winning condition. If he holds me here for 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, he wins. His second winning condition is to get back to his feet. With space, okay? So I can't have any attachment to him, okay? Does that make sense? So my job, therefore, is to keep Anton on the floor and to avoid getting into that diamond position. Does that make sense to everyone, yeah? So he's got two objectives. The first objective is to get to diamond. The second objective is to get back to his feet. Does that make sense to everyone, yeah? Change partners, I want you to grab someone you've specifically not trained with today. Okay? Off you go, please. 1.5 minutes on